Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Mariam, Jeanne, and Betsy to continue our conversation from last week. And I'm going to start with Betsy this week. What's awesome?
What's awesome is that, can this be more general rather than this like right now? Okay. So,
whatever's awesome.
Okay. This is super awesome. So because of assignments in the Enchanted Circle and coaching from Cassie, one of the things you do is you come up with a list of what you would spend $10,000 on. I kept trying to do and actually I think it started before the pandemic. So it was like trips or I don't know, all these kinds of things, and nothing was turning me on. And I finally realized after quite a bit of time, I started to realize that what would really turn me on was to spend the entire $10,000 on organizing and cleaning my loft. Not redecorating, not new appliances, none of that. I mean, I tried that and it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And I wrote a check, it's still on my refrigerator, for $10,000 to a professional organizer that I found in Palo Alto. And I wanted to spend it all on her, and she'd recommend what appliances I ought to get to replace or paint or whatever like that. But I just wanted someone like a really top-notch professional organizer to help me with this. And then a later assignment was to come up with what your abundance activating emotion was. And mine became happy. And mine was happy. And then sometime after that, it all clicked together, which was me doing my own organizing, even without a professional organizer, activated the feeling of happy, therefore the feeling of abundance in me. And so organization equals happiness, and happiness equals organization. And I started to realize how much pleasure I got out of doing that. And I don't even need a professional organizer anymore. Because again, this is like my hobby, and if I need to feel better, I just organize something, a drawer, whatever. And I've just already done so much already, and I've been organizing it in a way that it stays organized. So to me, it's like this puzzle, and also it's a form of creativity and an expression of creativity, to come up with these ways to design, whether it's organization of a drawer or a closet or whatever, in order to make it also easy to continually maintain it. As you guys know, I love blue and white. Blue and white in Paris is all over my loft. You can see it behind me. And so when I'm doing the organizing in my house, it's all blue and white in Paris. And I keep coming up with innovative, different, weird, and really effective new ways to do that. And that has just made it's a huge difference. And when I do it, that's when I'm relaxed, my brain is relaxed, I can get inspired actions for other things, whether it has to do with relationships or has to do with work or any of that kind of stuff. So it's a modality that enables my brain to access solutions in completely different areas of my life while I'm doing the happiness organizing thing.
Totally awesome. I love it. Jeanne, what's awesome?
So just before COVID, or just before Mardi Gras last year, I had an opportunity to go to Santa Fe. And to go to Santa Fe, you have to fly into Albuquerque. And my half brother lives in Albuquerque, and I hadn't seen him in many, many years, even though we're in touch over Zoom and whatever. And I got to tell him that we actually had another half sister. And that was really cool. He was super accepting, which I was a little, to be honest, I was a little afraid of. But in talking about a week and a half later, we discovered that we were all fans of Renaissance festivals. And so we said, okay, well, we'll all go to a Renaissance festival this fall. And we were going to bring the other half brother.
Mm-hmm.
But that hasn't happened. But the three of us, plus my sister's daughter, who I also have not met, are all meeting in Texas in 2 weeks to go to the Texas Renaissance Festival, and the beer tastings and the bourbon and rum tastings and just everything. And we're doing costumes and everything. It's going to be just an absolute blast, and I can't wait.
That is awesome. Fabulous. Mariam, what's awesome?
What's awesome is that today on an Enchanted Circle call, I learnt a really quite simple technique, which I think is going to prove really valuable to me in my day-to-day life. I was explaining on the call how my medical team were changing, and I was and have been really anxious about it because I've had really good medical support, and I didn't know the new people, and I was just worried whether they were going to be nice and whether they're going to be supportive. And it turned out that both the doctors I met today were utterly lovely. So I have spent weeks worrying about this, and talking to Cassie, you asked me, well, what could you do instead of that? And I said something to the effect of, well, I could just, stop worrying and just adopt well, let's just wait and see. Don't think the worst. Just, I thought that was a fair enough answer, because I thought, yeah, that serves me right for worrying all that time. But Cassie then said, no, think something else. Think, I always attract what I need, or I always attract good people. And that's it. That's all you need to think. You think that and put that out into the world. I think that, we've only had that discussion a couple of hours ago, but I genuinely think that's going to prove really valuable to me. Someone who is moving away from glass half full. No, my glass wasn't even half full. My glass was smashed on the floor. I would catastrophize. I'd go from, and it's part of the job I do. My job is to think, what if? I'm a writer. And when that works positively, that's fantastic. And it's a great place to be, and it provides great work. But when it has gone negatively, it takes me down, my mood down. So this little technique, I'm really excited to apply that to my everyday life. So thank you, Cassie.
Yay, you're so welcome. I'm excited too. Awesome. So I think the next best question to ask right now is, do you have any, each of you, and whoever can just raise your hand if you want to go first, do you have any LOA myths, or what LOA myth would you dispel based on your experience? So, maybe something that you thought was the way to do it before, or, isn't the way to do it, or you thought you had to do it and you've learned that. Any LOA myths that you could dispel for listeners? Betsy, and then Jeanne.
Well, I I really thought any amount of feeling bad was a bad thing. And that my brain would just go down that neural pathway of what was bad. And that would happen to me before, and it would really mess me up. So it's definitely in resistance to Cassie's telling people on calls to feel the feelings. and I'm going, I can buy into everything else, but I'm not buying into that one. And it seemed to fly in the face of everything that I knew about the way the brain works. However, in somewhat my defense, it's not it is a two-part thing. It's a feel the feelings, and then, what do I feel? Then what do I want? Mm-hmm. And actually, that technique, it's just dawned on me. One of my leading techniques in my book, and using neuroscience of insight and all that kind of stuff, is exactly that. Mm-hmm. I just wasn't, I somehow couldn't hear how you were saying it, but it's something that I have been doing for 20, 25 years, mm-hmm. and really effectively, and a technique that I love. And it is one where you feel like shit to begin with, and then you do. And so anyway, it is the what do I feel followed by what do I want? Mm-hmm. And I realized that it actually completely maps to the way the brain works. And it just took me a lot of months of fighting it.
I love when we admit that, and thank you for sharing all of that. Amazing. Jeanne?
So really, if the reason I've been around for 5 years is that it's taken me 5 years to dispel all the myths and change all the things that I was getting wrong. But I think I'll go with this one. In terms of writing affirmations and saying, what did you want? What do you want? It was a lot for me, that whole thing of get as detailed as you possibly can. So I would be scripting, using Cassie's technique to script, and I would write, I see a blue bird with a yellow spot on its tail sitting on a holly branch, and the holly branch has 3 berries on it, and there's a shaft of light coming down through the trees, and it dabbles and it lights up the bird right on the crown of its head. And Cassie would say, no, I want you to write down, I see a bird. And for a while, you actually, I'm pretty much there, but I don't always get there. But I think you told me I could write my actions in 3 words, and I had 5 words to describe my sensory experience, and 3 words for my feeling, and then I could write as much as I wanted for my gratitude. Mm-hmm. And for a long time, it was like, oh my God, I put an extra word in there. But the reason that became so important was it allowed me to see a lot more things as evidence. Mm-hmm. So if I didn't see a bluebird with a yellow spot on its tail sitting on a holly branch, but I saw a cardinal come flying down and sit right in front of the path of me on the path when I'm taking the dogs for a walk, I could see that bird as the evidence for what I had been
Scripting.
about. Or if I said, I got a new car, then the car that I got was the new car. But if I said I got a Porsche 911 with a gray with a convertible top and tan seats, then if I didn't get a Porsche 911, it wasn't what I was trying to manifest. And the fact that I just got a Corvette with, a red Corvette with racing stripes on it was not going to be good enough, because it wasn't what I was, quote, trying to manifest. And I still use a few adjectives when it's really important. I know you probably have seen it. As I get out of bed, my feet don't touch carpet, they touch a smooth floor. And I don't know why that's important to me, but in my future self, that's something that is important. But I've never tried to define whether that's ceramic tile or floor or some other kind of flooring or what. But it was that taking away from the specific, which meant that nothing would ever match exactly. And then I couldn't see evidence, and I couldn't see it coming.
That's huge. Awesome. Mariam, you shared a very good one with the doing everything on last episode. You're doing so much stuff. Do you have another one you'd like to share?
Yeah, I do. When my previous attempt at manifesting and law of attraction, everything I read or was told always said you have to regularly repeat these positive affirmations. I am a magnificent money manifestor, or I am this, I am that, and just keep saying them to yourself. Spend 5 minutes, put them in your handbag, get them out, read them during the day. I did this and it never connected. I may as well have been speaking in another language. And I just thought, it's me, I'm not doing this right, I'm not connecting, I can't, this just isn't working for me. And it really frustrated me, actually, because it just seemed to be a key part in everyone's practice. And what I have learned since being in the Enchanted Circle is that is not to force things. I have tried a few, and over the months I've learned that it doesn't work. It doesn't matter. I'll try this one out. I am whatever it is. No, it doesn't seem to work. Doesn't matter. And I realize now, just got to wait until one comes that resonates with me.
Yes.
To force these affirmations it's useless for me. And but I had a couple of days ago, I saw something online that did resonate with me, and I printed it out into a nice thing. I'm showing Cassie now. I printed this out, and it says, do something today that your future self will thank you for. And I thought, that's the one for me. That is by my, this is literally next to me. It's next to my manifest $10,000 board, is that one. But I'm not I'm not saying it to myself every day. I just glance over at it. It makes me smile, because I know at some point in the future I will be doing future self work.
Yes.
It's not right for me now, and it just felt, put that one there. That's going to serve you well at some point. So I'm not worried that I don't have any others. I have one that I experiment with. I go, no, I'm not ready for that yet. So I've stopped. I've let go of that. When it comes, it will come.
Yes, I love it. And my suspicion is it will come when you are scripting your future self, because that's often when people get the one. Hopefully I didn't take away what Jeanne was about to say. I still want to hear it. Jeanne, what did you have to add?
So this one could have been one of mine too, as could have Betsy's. But what I found with affirmations is, if I said, oh, I'm wealthy and beautiful and financially independent, what my current self said back was, no, you're not.
Right?
You're lying again. But when we started doing future self work, I know she is financially independent. And so that affirmation doesn't ring true to my current self, but it very much rings true to who I am in the future. And so it's like, okay, that was the grain of truth in affirmations. And so I can take into the future, my future self is happy and confident and connected and financially independent. And I don't have to say I'm lying. Right. Because she is.
She is. You can see it. You know her. Yes. Oh, I love that. Amazing. We are about to wrap up. Anyone have anything else on their heart they want to share, what they're excited about next year? It can be anything, something you want listeners to know. Mariam?
I just want to say Jeanne is my hero. I've listened to all her podcasts and I resonate so much with her journey. I see so much of myself in her, and it's so it gives me so much hope and positivity to hear that she's come through it. So yes, you are my role model, Jeanne.
Yay! I love it. Betsy?
Actually, I just really appreciate this call. It's helping me a whole lot more than just doing something for the podcast. It was when Mariam, when you said future self work isn't right for me now, and Cassie knows I've been chafing at not being able to, or not be allowed to do future work. And that just really, the thought that immediately came to me after you said that, Mariam, was, oh, I get it now. Because I've wanted to do future work to force myself to the place I am now.
Yes.
Because I get that about affirmations. I believe in reality-based affirmations, and if you try to do something that your brain doesn't go along with, it does the opposite. And so it's like, especially experiencing this openness and spaciousness kind of feeling, and stopping pushing, and everything that I've talked about in these calls, which has all come together pretty recently for me. And I'm a year into this. And I had been like, oh, I'm not doing my assignments fast enough. I'm not getting all the assignments I'm supposed to get done before future self. And I was pushing myself, it's like, oh, you've got to be doing it more. And Cassie kept saying, it's all going to be timed just right. And I don't have to feel, oh, I'm way behind on my assignments and this is bad and all this kind of stuff. Because now I'm seeing, oh my God, whatever has happened in the last year has led me to this place. I'll have a blast when I'm doing future self, but it's like, if I had pushed myself to get all the assignments done to do future self workshop and all of that, it would have all been done wrong. It would have been me pushing, and it's the not pushing that leads to the biggest change, really easy, effortless, fun kind of change. And that I'll do future self when it's the right time for me to do that, and however long it takes, whatever happens, especially since I'm in here for at least 5 years and beyond. So that, by the way, I must say, that's something that keeps blowing me away, because it was about, well, it's been a year now. It's been maybe 11 months
Mm-hmm.
since I had the opportunity to sign up for Enchanted Circle for 5 years. And when that opportunity came through on an email, and I just said, oh, hell yeah. And through the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
I have thought over and over again, oh my God, what an incredible difference it makes that I can just relax into this 5 years. And the fact that I get 4 calls and daily assignments and, connections with you and all this kind of stuff, I keep thinking about how usually if you have a coach or a therapist or whatever, the most you do is once a week, and all hell could break loose at some time and you can't talk to them for another week. And having 4 calls available, not to mention just the incredible library of content that's available to anybody who's any kind of a member in the Enchanted Circle, to go back to years of 4 calls a week. I've learned so much just listening to the previous calls, and just that alone is a gold mine. Anyway, the timing, I kept thinking, and I could tell that something new, that I needed to have that set up.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it has made all the difference. It's the reason why the pandemic has been good for me rather than horrible.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And I will say, just for listeners and for you too, is, you talked about how now you'll be in the place of not pushing your future self. And I think often that first go round of the future self work, what happens the second time that people go through the workshop is they realize they were pushing the first time. And so, yes, to echo what you said, you have done the work, whether it, no matter how it's framed, you've been doing the work. So I love that you're also seeing that and had that aha. I love that you all were here and you shared your stories and your journeys today. I know so many people out there are inspired and having ahas and believing that what they want is even more possible after listening to this. So thank you so much for sharing this moment in your journey and telling us all about 2020. I look forward to continuing to share your stories and to get to be a part of your journeys. Thank you all. And thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back next week and check out some more 2020 roundups. I love helping people manifest money, because when you're learning to use the law of attraction, money is such a great tool. It gives such instant feedback. There's so many opportunities to see how the energy is flowing through you and where you might be getting tripped up or not allowing it to come in. So if you've had trouble manifesting in the past, you might want to use money as a way to learn how to use the law of attraction. Now, I have helped thousands of people manifest millions of dollars using my system Manifest 10K. And now I would love to invite you to join me complimentary and pay based on your success. You heard me right. You can join, get access to my very successful program, the Enchanted Circle, and most of all, my coaching for when you get stuck. And then you can pay me 10% of what you manifest after you're successful. If this sounds good to you, go to payafteryoumanifest.com to apply. That's payafteryoumanifest.com.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn more about enrolling in the Enchanted Circle, go to cassieparks.com.